as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to give you my picks for UFC Nashville. This is a speed run because I just got back in the country, got delayed, got in late. So try to keep up numbnuts. Let's make some money this week. Top of the card, main event, you have Derrick Lewis fighting Tallison, Teixeira, the old versus the new knockout artist. Both these guys get it done in the first round. Typically, who's going to come out on top? I don't think it really matters. Meaning, as far as predictions go, I don't think you can make a good prediction on this because the winner is going to win. It's going to be early and it's going to look like, oh, if you were on the wrong side, you're an idiot. If you were on the right side, you're a genius, but you really shouldn't be heralded as either. And you guys know me, I'm not going to tell you that the pick is this, but the bet is the other side because I think that's just disingenuous. I'll tell you right now, I prefer the Derrick Lewis side because of the value. He's almost a 3-to-1 underdog. I'll take that. Against the guy who's young, has never been in this position, is pretty untested as far as level of competition goes. Derrick Lewis has been there, done that, beaten better fighters than Tallison, Teixeira. If he gets knocked out early, I wouldn't be surprised, but I do think that his balls will be hot enough in Nashville. I think he gets it done this week. Give me the Black Beast. Next, we have a nightmarish matchup for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, a guy who's young, fast, explosive, and is going to win the fight as soon as he gets his hands on Wonderboy because the grappling gap is way too big. It's insurmountable. If this was a younger Wonderboy with that footwork, with the offbeat stuff to be able to disrupt the timing of Bonfim, catch him on the way in, drag him into deep water, I think that that would be a better situation. But I think that at 42 years old, Wonderboy's kind of beyond it. And Gabriel Bonfim is one takedown away from winning this fight. The way I think it's going to go, Gabriel Bonfim just crashes distance when he finally builds up the nerve because it's kind of hard to, right? When Wonderboy's in front of you, you don't know where he's going to go, what he's going to do. So you're going to see him freeze a little bit, I think, in the early going. But once he just breaks that pattern or breaks through that mental block, then he's just going to go and he's going to get Wonderboy up against the fence. He's going to take him down. And I think from there, when Wonderboy's trying to work back up to his feet, we see Bonfim jump on a guillotine and he gets Wonderboy out of there. Give me Gabriel Bonfim, rightfully the favorite. I think he wins by submission. This seems like the kind of fight that's going to divide the MMA community this week because you have one guy who's just losing versus another guy who's winning in impressive fashion over and over and over again. I think there's a lot of value on the underdog here because Calvin Kattar, despite the big power that's coming back his way, it's not the kind of guy to get knocked out. It really just doesn't happen. I also think that he gets stronger as the fight goes along, while Steve Garcia, I think that knockout threat is going to be less and less with each passing round. So if we see Calvin Kattar escape the first round, which I think that he does, I think he's really live to win in the second and third, or at least steal those rounds to win on the scorecards. He also has takedowns in his back pocket. I can't really say the same for Steve Garcia. And for the wins that Garcia has, I don't want to discredit them, but I won't say that I'm moved by them, and I'm probably going to miss one or two, but you see guys like Shayleon Nerdembeke that he beat. That's not Calvin Kattar. Charlion Taveros, Chase Hooper a few years ago at 145, 155. Current version of Chase Hooper is a lot different. So that's a win that's aged well, but I don't think you can really make it a 1-to-1 match, if that makes sense. Kyle Nelson, Sungwoo Choi, these aren't big wins in my opinion. I think that a win over Calvin Kattar is way better than anything we've seen Steve Garcia do, but I don't think he gets to win this week. I think Calvin Kattar at slight plus money is definitely the move. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. It's for the algorithm. You know how the algorithm works. And again, we're moving fast. Keep up. Nate the Train, Morgan Charriere. Listen, I thought that Morgan Charriere was the best play of the slate when I was first looking at this card. And then the more I looked at it, the more I thought he's kind of low volume. You look at his last fight, he was just looking like the slowest featherweight on the roster. And maybe he isn't. Maybe that's just because you see Nathaniel Wood coming up from 135 and just being a bit quicker, but I was really unimpressed with how he looked last time out, and I was expecting him to put it on Nathaniel Wood and win pretty easily, so I was disappointed to say the least. And Nate the Train, somebody who's always going to fight for your money, on paper he throws way more than Morgan Charriere, and that's how he would win this fight. He would win with volume, he'd fight harder later in this fight, and he would end up just gutting out a decision win. The problem is that Morgan Charriere is way physically stronger, way more athletic, and if he wants to, he can take Nate the Train down and keep him there for whenever he wants, for however long he wants. We saw Do Ho Choi look like he did his military service in Dagestan rather than Korea last time out, when he was able to get Nate the Train down and just smash him with elbows and get him out of there late. The blueprint's out on Nate the Train, and I think Morgan Charriere just being that big body for 145 pounds. I know he's not the tallest guy going, but that back is wide. Like, he's got like a 60-inch TV on his back. I think that he's going to be able to take him down, keep him down, and win this fight with his control. Nate the Train would have to win with some volume. I don't think the power is as much as maybe it once was or what we think it is. And on the feet, I think that Morgan Charriere just lands with a lot more power. And I know that Nate the Train's not going to negotiate with his body, but his body might get shut down by a body kick. So I think Morgan Charriere, great play this week, good bounce back spot. I think he should be a bigger favorite than he is. Vitor Petrino, massive favorite over Austin Lane. Vitor Petrino being a big favorite, what could possibly go wrong? Tough one for Austin Lane though. He's taller, he's longer. I think at his peak he was more athletic. I don't think Vitor Petrino could play in the NFL, no sir. But that doesn't really matter because Austin Lane, and I don't know if it's fair to say he's a chinny mister because of just the nature of fighting in the heavyweight division. That kind of comes with the job, but he's getting knocked out. And Vitor Petrino, all it takes is one, especially with this added weight. He's looking pretty puffy, but I think it's going to translate to some power, and I think he just needs to wait on his shot. If Austin Lane's not sitting there and trying to take you down and hold you down, I don't really think he has much. We've seen him try to do that in the UFC. We've seen him do it against Robelis de Spain, who was trash. We saw him do it against Jonata Janice, and that worked for a little bit until it didn't, and then he inevitably got knocked out. I think Vitor Petrino just catches him with a left hook, knocks him out. Size difference doesn't really scare me. Junior Tafa, I know you've seen the pictures on the internet. If you're watching this channel, you're probably on MMA Twitter. Dude shredded, no longer looking like a melted candle, and he's going to come in here and knock this guy out. I don't think Tokkos is a UFC fighter at all. Road to UFC, Ming Yang Zhang knocks him out. Tokkos was a huge favorite in that one. That did not go as planned. Omar Sy cuts through him, makes it look easy, and we just saw what Omar Sy looked like against Atomic Alonzo Menafield. Not great. And then Navajo Sterling, who the jury is still very much out, ends up beating him pretty much every round. So I'll take Junior Tafa here. I think he's going to look great at 205. I think he knocks him out in the first or second round. That's another fight where I'm surprised the line isn't a bit wider. Let's go. Love 170 for the action man. I know it's probably a tough weight cut for him to make because he is a big dude. Like, he's not the tallest dude going, but he's got wide shoulders, a lot of muscle, big frame for the guy, even though he's not the tallest dude. Fought at welterweight a good amount of times before making it to the UFC. If you guys remember, he made his UFC debut on short notice against Phil Hawes at middleweight, knocks Phil Hawes out, quick turnaround on short notice at middleweight against Brendan Allen, knocks him out, and just stayed at middleweight and fought some of the better fighters in the division. Hangs tough with them continuously, and Action Man is a dog. He's very hard to put away, very good takedown defense, great boxing in the pocket. Now at 170 pounds, where he's not giving up a whole lot of size against a guy who's actually older than him, this is easy work. I think he cruises to a decision win here against Max Griffin. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njoukuani, second fight in a row where Chidi is missing weight at 170 pounds. I've got to imagine it's pretty hard for a guy who's 6'3" with an 80-inch reach at 36 years old after having all these fights, all these miles on him, making that 170-pound mark, and it's kind of showing here. The first time, it's like, okay, maybe he didn't try to make the cut all the way. This time only missing by 1 pound, very telling. Jake Matthews at a big striking disadvantage here because Chidi's Muay Thai is extremely clean, extremely crisp. That's what ended up knocking out Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos last time out, just that clean Muay Thai technique. If Jake Matthews isn't urgent and wants to play this guy's game at range, he's going to get picked apart. He might even get dropped at different points. But the thing about Jake Matthews is very hard to put away. I think he's got the grappling edge here, at least the wrestling edge. I think if the fight hits the mat, you're going to see Chidi throw some stuff off his back. Good jiu-jitsu on the side of Njoukuani, we can't forget, but I think that Jake Matthews, if he stays on top, is going to be in a good spot. And I'm not really blown away by the wins like you see Francisco Prado. Francisco Prado might not be UFC caliber yet. Just picked up a win over Ange Lusso, and he outdogged Ange Lusso, which I was not expecting at all. But he beat Phil Rowe. He lost the fight before that, beat Darius Flowers. So he's not like he's beating the best fighters in the world, but he's also been doing this for a very long time. I'd like to think that he's at his best. 30 years old, hitting that physical peak, maybe. He did start very early, so he might have peaked a bit earlier than most guys, but let's say he is at his physical peak. I think that he can just outlast Chidi and win the second and third round. Really just make it dirty. Get his back up against the fence in the clinch and just work him. Knees, elbows, boxing in tight. Don't let Chidi use his length, because when he has that time and space and he can catch you at the end of his shots, that's when they start to hurt. So I think that Jake Matthews, as long as he's urgent, as long as he's aggressive, fights a good game plan, I think he can win, and at plus money, I'll take it. I don't trust Chidi after missing weight twice. Lucky Lauren back at it at 41 years old, coming in at plus 525. Give me Eduarda Moura. Let's go. Valter Walker versus Kennedy and Nzechukwu. I'm a Valter Walker kind of guy. I think that Valter Walker in that heel hook, I like a specialist. I'm a sucker for a specialist, and it looks like he's becoming one with that heel hook. And the crazy thing about heel hooks, for those of you that have never grappled or have been in one or tried to put somebody in one, with my limited experience that I'm about to share with you, when training heel hooks, you go very, very slow because it's one of those techniques where you don't really know how in it is until it's almost too late. And for somebody Valter Walker's size, strength, in this setting where he's going full speed, if you're Kennedy and Nzechukwu, you want to tap early rather than late, because you tap early, okay, maybe you could have tried to get out of it, but he's fought at these high weight classes, he's fought a lot in the UFC, the show money's okay, and if you lose, you don't take that much damage, right? You can fight in 3 months and try to get it back. But if you're too late, you might have to wait 8 months because your shit's getting all ripped up. Very scary technique from a guy this size. So I think if Valter Walker finds himself in a position to go for that heel hook, I think Kennedy and Nzechukwu's tapping quickly because he's smart enough to know what's coming if he doesn't, if he's a little too late on the draw. So give me Valter Walker at plus money. I love the line here. Even if he was the favorite, I would go with Valter Walker here. Kennedy's probably the better striker, has the better cardio, but I think Valter Walker is still going to find his spot at some point and win this fight by submission. Mitch Ramirez, I don't think is a UFC fighter. Mike Davis with ease. The betting odds are any indication of how this fight goes. You already know what to expect. Fatima Kline wins. You take the under in this fight, I think is your best bet. Melissa Martinez is probably more scrappy, might have more fighting spirit, but technique-wise, she has at a huge disadvantage, size disadvantage. This woman was taken down 3 times by Elise Reed, who we've seen time and time again struggle with the grappling when it comes to her UFC run. Fatima Kline, grappling specialist, is going to be able to ground this woman and beat her easily. I'm just worried that if I go with submission, she's going to elbow her to death. If I go with KO, she's going to find that neck and win by rear naked choke. So I'm just going to take the under in this one, I think. Fatima Kline, obviously the side. And that'll do it for my picks for UFC Nashville. Again, I'm sorry for those of you that are used to more of a breakdown that takes a little bit longer, but we're on a time crunch here. I want to get this video out before too long. If you want the official betting article, DFS Strategy Guide, Lineup Optimizer, Data Model Projections, you can visit kunithmma.com. That's going to be linked in the description and in a pinned comment. I wish you all the best of luck this weekend.